So today, it's pretty miserable outside. It's like 35 degrees and raining, and it's just not, we don't want to be outside. So we came into one of the hoops. We're going to prep our sweet peas today. So we're going to go ahead and till out this bed, and then we're going to build up the structure and show you how we do it. Essentially what we're going to do is be building a teepee structure. It's going to run the length of this middle row of our hoop house, and it's going to support our sweet peas through the spring and early summer. But because in the early summer we're going to tear them all out, we want to make sure that the structure we build is not only sturdy enough to hold them, but also fairly easy to disassemble so that we can store it, and the next winter we can use it again. So the things that I have out today are my ladder, because I am tall, but I am not as tall as these 8-foot 1x4s that we're going to be using, so I'm going to need to use it. So the 1x4s, and then we have a drill and some screws to attach them with. It's going to be really simple. We're only going to use probably 2 screws per little section, so it'll be easy to get it apart when we are ready to. I also have a speed square so that when we do get those two 1x4s up, we can make sure that the angle at the top of them is similar, so that throughout the run we're at least somewhere in the right ballpark. So what I've done is I've marked these 2 1x4s at the height that I'm going to want that brace to go across, to run across the top. So I'm just going to secure them with a single screw. That way we can open it up as we need to when we're getting these set up. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and anchor the cross brace that's going to run the length up here above the door. So just a single screw before we get everything else set. So we've got our X up and it's supporting that cross brace that's going to run the length of the hoop, and we're just going to put a single screw in, anchored into the leg. Then we're going to put an X at each juncture every 8 feet. Okay, so now that we've got the cross beam anchored and we've got it at the right height, I went ahead and put a second screw in. That way we don't have the X splaying open. Alright, so that's what the structure looks like completed. At each, you can see in the video, even though we were moving incredibly fast, at each of the X's we put in an extra screws for a total of 2 so that they'll be more stable. And then at the top we anchored down the cross beam at each of the X's. That's also where the 1x4s overlap to create the long run, and then it's anchored at each end above the door. The next step is we're going to take the floral netting, which is the same floral netting that we use on our flower beds outside. Out there we use it horizontally, and here we're going to use it vertically to create a nice run for the sweet peas to grow up. You can see that we've taken the next step and we've created a framework to hang the netting on. This will just serve as a place to tack the netting onto so that it can hang down. We have 4-foot netting, so each of these 1x4s is placed at about 4 feet of height, give or take, and then we'll hang a second row from the very top and hang it down to this to give ourselves a nice continual floral netting for the sweet peas to grow up. It got a little bit dark last night, a little bit fast on us, so we ended up having to come back down, and we're going to finish up the rest of the project today. So we went ahead and put on the first layer of netting. We just attached it to that 1x4 that we put at the cross bracing, and we used a staple hammer to attach it, so I'll show you what that looks like, and we're going to take another round and string it around the top to create the full 8-foot run for the sweet peas. So I'm just using the staple hammer to secure the netting to the 1x4s. So the goal is to hit it first time, just like that, and tap it in. I'm not pulling it super tight, but tight enough that the vines as they grow up aren't gonna flop out. We finished attaching that second rung of floral netting on the top part of the frame. So that makes it effectively about 8 feet tall up there in the air, ready for the sweet peas to grow up it. Make sure you check back. We'll try to keep you posted on what it looks like once those plants are up and growing and blooming. In the meantime, thanks for swinging by the farm. We'll see you next time.